Hi, everybody. What follows is me building a $3 million per year business in public. The way these videos go is I always start with some YouTube comment Q&A. Now, I do this first because it delivers value, and it's also a growth hack where I answer all your questions about the AI agency growth model, and in return, I get bumped up in visibility in the feeds. Then I do growth stats for YouTube, Instagram, and my products. Then finally, I do some building in public. So if you guys like the sounds of that, this is my main channel right over here at 151,888 subs. This is my daily updates channel, and all I do is I just scroll all the way down to the daily update channel community tab and then answer the last question, which was from Fuzal mid 8 days ago. They said, "Hey, Nick, got into the AA journey a month ago, but I had to put it on halt as my exams are coming up. I'm also currently doing a full-time master's in engineering. Appreciate the value providing here. Did some basic automations and built voice agents just to learn this stuff, and even tried cold calling companies in the US to try and get that first client. I'll be honest, I did it only for a few days, and I wasn't really consistent. Exams finish in about a month's time. How do you reckon I get back up and get printing money XD?" XD, my friend. Yeah, so, I mean, like, if you've only did it for a few days, that's what you're saying. What you're actually meaning is like you did this probably like 5 times or something. You're gonna have to do it like 100 to 1,000 times more than that if you really want to get results. So it's unfortunate, but I think back to my whole intro journey to business, which is where I was doing door to door with a buddy of mine, and we did 50 to 80 doors a day for about 3 months. You do the math on that, it's like somewhere around 3,000 doors, accounting for some longer lunches and some events and stuff like that. We did that, and then I made like $7. So 3,000 doors knocked, $7. I mean, you probably did, I don't know, 5, 10, maybe 15 cold calls, got $0. I think it's clear that when you're at the start line of your business and you don't really have the experience doing the cold outreach, you got to do a lot of reps if you want to see a win. Now, would I recommend cold calling companies in the US these days if you are trying to sell AI automations? No, not really. Instead of cold calling, I'd recommend sending like custom Loom videos. Basically, these are the same thing as a cold call. It's just you do them in a low stakes nor stress environment, and it allows you to avoid the biggest issue with cold calling, which is time issues, like synchronous issues where you're available, but the person you're calling is not. Also lets you avoid decision maker issues where you call some business number and then you end up in the gatekeeper hell of the secretaries and personal assistants and stuff like that. Loom videos just cut through all that and then allow your outreach to just remain in an inbox. And the inbox is the highway to the brain these days. So I would just do that. You're going to get like 3-4 times more out of your time probably. Okay. AI has landed. It says, why is it that you advise using Upwork to begin with instead of cold outreach? I'll run you through my logic here. There's 2 main reasons. Okay. So if we just go why Upwork, my take and the reason why I pitch this so much in my programs is number 1, Upwork is high on the buying ladder. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this term buying ladder, why don't I just draw you a fancy little picture here and we can run through that together. This is your ladder, okay? And it has 3 big fat rungs. Up here is buy, and down here is start. Now, when you are selling to prospects, there are 3 main rungs on this buying ladder, okay? 3 main types of prospects you can talk to. The lowest rung is where most people start out at. And this is where they are problem unaware. What this means is it is a, older gentleman that runs a local landscaping company who doesn't realize just how crappy his business that he's running in Excel essentially is. He doesn't realize that he's super disorganized. He doesn't realize that because he doesn't have any sort of data centralization or any simple pipeline or funnel or follow-up sequence or cadence, he's not making anywhere near as much money as he could be. Okay, the next stage up is solution unaware. Now, if you've climbed to solution unaware as a prospect, you are aware of the problem. In that prior example, that gentleman is now aware of the fact that, he's disorganized. So what he's doing is he's looking for a solution, but he doesn't know what the solution is. Now, what is the solution? Some sort of data pipeline, some sort of, spreadsheet-based system that is pretty simple, some sort of CRM, whatever. He understands that he's suffering from a problem. He doesn't understand he's suffering from the solution. The third rung on the ladder is basically choosing a vendor. So if we go back to that example with that gentleman, now he understands what the problem is, which is that he's disorganized. So he understands what the solution to that problem is, which is that he needs some sort of CRM or data pipeline. And now what he's doing is he's just looking for the right person to fulfill it. Okay. So this is the buying ladder in a nutshell. The closer you are to the top, the closer you are to buying. When you make it all the way up to the top, you buy. And then all prospects in some way start here. So when you're selling people or acquiring leads through most other methods, so let's talk cold email for a second. When you're acquiring leads through cold email, because that's what you suggested, you can talk to leads at all 3 levels here. You could be talking to that guy who just doesn't understand he has a problem. Then you could be talking to some other girl who understands that she has a problem, but she doesn't understand what the solution is. And then you could also be talking to somebody that's in the process of picking the vendor for that solution, okay? Because of this big spread and variability, and because these are 3 distinct problems you have to solve, doing this is really hard. I mean, if you think about it, like, hey, let's say you land a meeting with some dude that doesn't understand what the hell his problem is. That means you have to first sell him on the problem. So you have to convince him that he has a problem worth solving. Then you have to convince him that the solution is worth implementing to solve that problem, that it actually works. And then finally, you also have to convince him that you're the best person capable of delivering that solution. This is 3 rungs of the ladder. It's a lot of work. Imagine you're super heavy, you're weighted down, you got ankle weights, you got a vest. These are all the taxes and depths of you not having any knowledge. It is hard for you to climb up that ladder. Okay, so to make a long story short, all Upwork does is Upwork serves on a silver platter people that are over here. The only leads you're going to chat with on Upwork are leads that understand the problem they suffer from, for the most part, understand the solution they need to solve that problem, and are merely in the process of picking a vendor. What does that mean you have to do? Well, your job is now, you just go from here up to the buy. So it's 1/3 of the problem. And as a beginner to sales, somebody that has no idea what the hell you're doing, it is much easier to go from this rung to buy than it is to start from here and work your way up. Because one thing that, I think very few salespeople even understand is that these are all different skills. It's a different skill to convince somebody that you're better than somebody else. It's a different skill to formally articulate a solution that could solve a problem. And it's a very different skill to convince somebody that they have a problem in the first place. If you go on Upwork as a newbie, you get the simplest of those 3 problems, and then you only have to, actually work about 1/3 as hard. What this allows you to do is this allows you to get wins, baby. You get some wins. And once you get some wins, you start that positive feedback snowball, which allows you to actually, get some sort of positive benefit of starting this business. And as a beginner, that's the number one thing you want. You just want some positive thing. Like, you need somebody to say yes to you, otherwise you're going to quit. And that's just what all beginners do if they don't get any results in a certain amount of time. They just quit, right? Which is logically, you're trying something that's not working. Okay, so that's number one. The second is this concept of capital outlay. Now, capital outlay, this concept just refers to the idea of the total amount of money that you will be out at any particular point in time when starting a new business model. Okay? This is basically like your investment. And let's say your max investment amount. So the thing about Upwork is it has very low capital outlay. Let me give you guys a quick example. This is a graph of let's just say money, and let's say time. Let me show you what it looks like to start a business. Most other businesses look like this. As you go from 0 unit of time to 1 unit of time, you have to invest a lot of money. Okay? And maybe you invest a little bit at unit 2, then unit 3, and unit 4, and whatever. Okay? So what does this mean? This is all the money that you have spent. And what the idea is you invest all of this money so that at some point in time, say over here, you could start making a return. And this blue is the return. Okay? So if this is your ROI, this is your investment. So what's the idea, obviously? The idea is that, a couple days or weeks or months into your business, you're like, okay, I invested all this money, but now I have systems in place. I have people that are hired. I have a lead generation that's happening. I got sales mechanisms that are happening. So eventually what I'll do is I'm going to return that investment, and then I'm going to make way more money than I invested. So maybe in this case, this is like a 2x, but ideally what you want is you want like a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 10 or a 100x, right? So this is what most businesses look like, right? And the thing is, beginners hate this part. This is high capital outlay. Like if you think about it, this could mean, like most other business models, this could mean, you just invested $10,000. Who wants to be in a position of negative $10,000 at any point in time? Nobody. Nobody wants to be in a position of negative $10,000. Okay, so that's what like a normal business looks like, okay? Or average, let's say average lead gen, right? You do some big capital investment and then, hopefully it goes well. And then if it does, then you make a ton of money. And if not, you're out very little, quite a bit. Now, this is kind of like what the Upwork approach looks like, okay? So green here is going to be money that you spend on Upwork. And maybe light green is going to be like, I don't know. Well, you can't really see that. I shouldn't have done green for Upwork, but we'll just go, again, ROI. Upwork is green, so I think that makes sense. On day one, you'll spend approximately $20. On day two, you spend approximately $20. On day three, you spend $20. On day four, you spend $20. Guess what happens on day four? Well, now you just made $150. Okay? Meaning you've already generated a positive ROI. Day five comes, day six comes, and guess what? Now you landed some other gig. That other gig is, I don't know, time and a half as much money as you spent, 2 times as much money as you spent. So now you're generating a positive ROI. Now your total capital cost outlay, basically at the most, and I'm saying this not because at the most you will only ever be out this money. No, some people spend much more money than this. Some people spend $5 and they land their first $10,000 client. But, at the most in this case, your investment was about $100 before you saw a $200 ROI. So this is much smaller capital outlay, okay? And so the thing is, what this allows you to do as a beginner who doesn't have any funds and is trying to bootstrap your business, at any one point in time, you will be out as little money as humanly possible, and you will also be solving the simplest equation possible for sales, meaning you maximize the probability of actually closing your first deal and getting the positive feedback that you need to stick with this business model. Okay? Hopefully everything here makes sense. Let me answer rapid fire a few more. I'm tired as hell. I don't know how much of this build in public stuff I'm going to do today. I got like 4.5 hours of sleep last night. So we're just gunning it. So I think maybe what I'll do is I'll just spend a few extra minutes answering questions. That'll probably make sense. But let's just run through rapid fire here and try and get us down to 6 days or so. That makes sense. I think I can do it. My God, that's a lot of freaking comments. Whew, okay. Anyway, I think I can still do it. So Keaton says, seems like DFY done for you. Automations might be automated soon. Should you focus on AI audits and done with you offers? No, I don't think so. Well, I don't know what this AI audit thing is. The fact that you're capitalizing it makes me think somebody's selling you this as a business model. DWI means done with you. Done with you is basically some form of coaching. Sure, you could do this, but no, I wouldn't focus on these. Done for you automations might be automated soon. My man, everything's going to be automated soon. So, your value is just going to move up the stack. It's not going to be in doing the building, dragging and dropping. It's going to be in, like finding the problems the customers are suffering from, effectively articulating the solutions, like I was telling you about with the buying ladder, and then making yourself the number one choice. I imagine this is right around the time that Liam posted a video saying that the AI agency model is dead, because I get a lot of questions. We got 2 questions in a row about this. Automation workflows, templates are commoditized. What's the next step? How much money have you made with automation workflow templates in the last 30 days, my man? How much, what sort of revenue are we talking? Whether or not something is commoditized doesn't really matter to you. If you're making like $5,000 or $10,000 a month, it doesn't matter. It doesn't stop you from being able to do that. You know what else are commodities, really? Barrels of oil. And people make a lot of money off barrels of oil. So the whole idea that like they're commoditized is just such a freaking, such a buzzword. Most people don't even know what that means in relation to the economy. If something is commoditized, it doesn't mean that you can't make money out of it. So even assuming that these workflow templates or whatever were commoditized, doesn't mean you can't make money out of it. Whether or not they're commoditized is a whole different story. But like, yeah, man, like, dude, I'll tell you where commoditization matters. Commoditization matters when you're trying to run a $10 million a year business, or $20 million, or $50 million, or $100 million a year business, not a $10,000 a month business, Like there's literally always room in a market for another $10,000 a month entrant. You don't have to worry about commoditization if you're just a freelancer trying to make a living. If you're trying to like build this huge Uber or whatever, yeah, you got to start worrying about stuff like that. But you're not, man. Like, let's be real here. We're just trying to earn a living. We're just trying to, make significantly more money than the average person while working significantly fewer hours. So all this talk about commoditization and about like, oh, like the market saturation and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, things get harder when markets get harder when they're saturated for sure. But the whole idea of like, oh, that means that we have to fundamentally change our approach to do X, Y, and Z is wild, man. You can just always just work a little faster, work a little bit harder, and you get the same results. Okay. And if you want to make $10,000 a month, you don't even really have to work that hard. So automation, workflow, templates, commoditized. What's the next step? And then are workflow templates commoditized? Yeah, I'd say templates are pretty commoditized at this point. You know, just calling it what it is. But your value is not in your ability to generate templates. Your value is in your ability to like build a solution for a client. And I would never just sell a template. This whole business model, the leverage here is in white glove, the perception of white glove managed service. And I've said this from day one, it's all just about the white glove managed service. The perception that you do high quality work. Look at Design Joy. It's the same way that it works. This guy uses templates for everything. He makes over $1 million a year as a solo agency owner with like 90 whatever percent margins. Honestly, he's just like me. Look at that. He templates out everything. Are his templates commoditized? Yeah, but is he selling the templates? No, he's not selling the templates. He's selling you on like the client experience. He's selling you on like, you know, having your needs taken care of. He's selling you on peace of mind. He's selling you on all that. So you don't sell people on the freaking templates, guys. Because then you're no better than just like a, you know, little template GPT or something. Okay. All right. Harry, thank you, man. Very much appreciated. Stoked. Hearts in. Senthil says my job is done. How to keep yourself organized, stay on track with all the daily tasks. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's been pretty tough. I'm gonna level with you guys here. Last 2 weeks have been probably some of the harder ones in my career. This is still nowhere near as difficult as it was when I was dead broke. Now I have the privilege of like a lot of money, which makes resources easier to spend, which allows me to do things like delegate and whatnot. But not gonna lie, the last couple of weeks have been pretty hard. A lot of factors that have like, you know, resulted in that happening, but I've been juggling a lot. So the truth is, how do I keep organized and stay on track? I'm not super organized, and I don't really stay on track with all the daily tasks. I let things fall through the cracks all the time, which is unfortunate. I get angry emails from people that say, oh, I sent you a thing 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, shit, you're right, they totally did. I have to-do tasks on my list that I haven't done in like a month that I just continuously juggle back to the top or the bottom of my stack. I got some school threads that I just like continuously tell myself I'm going to create or manage or whatever, and sometimes I don't. So yeah, that's not to say that obviously my organization skills aren't above par. I think they are, certainly, but just wanted to be real with you guys that no, I don't really keep myself organized all the time. I try to, and I could have better systems for it. But yeah, at the end of the day, just some dude. Just some dude in his apartment. Nicholas Crow gives me the fire, thank you. Tech is second. Let me take a peek at this question. Giuseppe says, just got back to watch your daily updates. Feel like I've been missing out on a lot here. They're looking to set up cold email. Hey, what's up, Giuseppe? Once venture-backed startups decided to focus on them for the outreach efforts. Not sure how to go about it. Apollo doesn't say when a new round of investment is closed, which means they have funds to spend. I'd love to hear your take. Many thanks. Always much appreciated. Yeah, you got a couple approaches here for this venture-backed startup stuff. So like you could scrape, you could literally scrape like magazines and announcements and PR, like press releases and stuff, because these are like the first things to drop when somebody receives investment. So, I mean, there are a variety of these like press release sources out there that you could just assign a watcher to. A lot of them actually have RSS feeds, which is sick. And then you could take the RSS feed press release that just got dropped, filter it using AI, identify the company. If it is, you know, a press release, have AI tell you, yeah, it is a press release. If it is, then extract the company name, do an automated company lookup using something like a LinkedIn company name finder. That'll return the LinkedIn URL. You'll also have the company website. With all that information, you can realistically find some email addresses at that company. You could also add them to like a LinkedIn sequence to connect with all the staff members at that business. And if they're just venture-backed, like they just launched, odds are they're going to have all that information. So that's number one. This is what I'd call the manual method, and it works reasonably well. I've heard of a few people making money with it. Have I made money with it? No, I don't typically go after venture-backed startups. The second is you use a tool like Crunchbase. You ever heard of Crunchbase? Basically all Crunchbase does 24/7. So just head crunchbase.com. Then you basically, oh, it looks like they just dropped some AI feature. That's cool. But anyway, you can scrape 5,000 rows per month for only $199. That's a fair amount. Anyway, what are these rows? These rows are like, a database of companies that have received funding at some point in time. Thank you, Harshit. Hi, Nick. Regarding Emperor Zero's question about how to create the offer, says Gary, and guarantee for clients' niches and doing cold outreach. Do you mean burrow deep into that niche yourself as you're the business owner trying to sell agile training workshops? This is the crux of lead gen selling, to be able to think from the perspective of the client's clients. What I think is necessary here is to help clients create a solid ideal customer profile, which I can see in easy automation for as part of the sales workflow. Can you talk more about how you do this aspect? Yeah, I mean, like if we're talking philosophically, yeah, for sure. Like the ideal is the solid ideal customer profile, but like, man, like, the only way you can get a solid ideal customer profile in practice, it's just by talking to a lot of potential customers that are ideal and not ideal. So like the whole idea that you just need to do a bunch of market research and whatnot is, I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously you can make inferences with market research, but all of these data points are just proxies for the real thing, right? They're just facsimiles of the real thing, which is like actual customer opinions. Wouldn't you just rather, do a what's the term? Monte Carlo, and just throw a bunch of things together and then just see which ones actually like simulate by actually like don't actually simulate, but simulate the model by actually talking to people, and then boom, you actually have your ideal customer profile. Like I would. Regarding the automation for lead response to emails, instantly now does AI categorization for you. You can then build an autoresponder based on the interest of categorization. You can. In practice, it's not very accurate. It misses about 15-ish% of them. Sometimes it'll categorize positives as not positive. So I just like using my own GPT 4.5 prompt. It's saved me from some headaches in the past. I remember when I relied on this fully, I sent my client a message that was something like, "Why do you think you can talk to me like that?" or something. And I guess the instantly AI somehow categorized that as like a positive because it was like asking a question. And most of the time somebody's asking you a question, then they're at least somewhat interested in what you have to say. Otherwise, why would they be following up? And I forwarded that directly to my client. It was just like obvious that it was not a good email. And the client just got freaked out because they just weren't used to cold outreach. Now, I mean, like that was a pretty sensitive, neurotic client, but yeah. Response to the value of the school community. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Your new idea about building in front of us is amazing. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. I'll keep mentoring you guys with more offers and other business ideas and won't have burnout. I mean, I'm trying my hardest this last week. Oof, man, it's been rough. It's really the lack of sleep that's been getting me, man. And the lack of sleep is my own fault. Does YouTube give a goat emoji? Here's someone who deserves it twice. Thank you. Leo Messi of YouTube. Yeah, so I'm not using my channel as social proof, to be clear. What I'm doing is I'm building the agency live, or I'm getting leads live right now, and I just sent out a bunch of sales meeting requests. So, I don't know how many of these are going to bite because I didn't really respond quickly. Unfortunately, it took me like 2 days, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm just going to do it nonstop with you guys, and I'll keep you on the loop. But yeah, I'm not using my channel as social proof. Here's the thing. I can't really stop people from like looking me up, right? And what you'll find is like when you're getting in a sales meeting with somebody, when you generate the lead and opportunity completely cold through cold email, like a lot of people are going to look you up. So, like at some point, they're probably going to know who I am, just to be clear, which is unfortunate. So hyped. Love your authenticity. Think about your Appify discount code. Thank you. I love your yapping. Thank you. Colin says, as a part of your community, when I first started, I left because I hit the 10 to 12K a month mark with the help of it. But at least when I left, the point of the community was just to start up, and that's all. Has it changed? No, not really. Hey, Nick. Nice work, Hong. Glad things are going well for you, man. Nathan says, hey, Nick, love the idea of live builds. Quick one. I'd love to see you tackle the following agency idea. You're a solo founder with strong sales and marketing expertise. And now you're offering automation services to small teams, small B2B service-based businesses under 20 staff located across South Africa. How would you go about building this agency? Would you start with one offer, then increase offerings? How would you get your first few customers? Would you productize or offer once-off builds? Yeah, I mean, this is like me, right? You're just swapping out the location. So yeah, this agency idea, Nathan, is just what I'm doing. Just what I'm doing, man. I would sell before I've done too much building. I would test multiple offers, 6, 8, 10, 20, 30. I would get my first few customers probably through Upwork, but then leaning towards cold email. Would I productize? Yeah, I would, but I would do that after I've landed a few clients for service. So I'm just doing all this right now for you. And the fact that you're in South Africa is nothing different. Ahmed says, so you wasted seconds drawing a sponge? I think he's probably, are you referring to, he's referring to one of the things that I drew on here. He's referring to this. This is not a sponge. This is a black box. Okay, it's kind of a green box. The whole idea is that I meant to show you guys that the client doesn't care about what's inside of the thing. And you got to wrap it up in a nice bow. Guess it kind of does look like a sponge. But Bush says, the best idea ever. Your yapping is very helpful than some gurus courses. This channel is pretty cool. Thank you. Gingerbeard says, any vid I see in the space of genuine customer processing interactions go straight to the top of my mental watch list, and it's likely I watch to the end, which isn't usual. What I mean is the format you're planning is 10x the value to me at least versus almost any other type of video. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Pretty gutsy move. Love the live idea you demand. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of this because you guys just get to see when it works and when it doesn't. Which I think is cool. Well done, man. All about the authenticity. Great idea. Yeah, I agree. It shows you're relatable, human, and not just clickbaiting us with a screenshot of your Stripe digits, but of genuine skills you'd love to pass on. Maybe you are the LeBron of AI automation. The LeBron of AI automation. Well, listen, guys. Like, let's be clear. The LeBron of AI automation would be getting better reply rates than this. All right. The LeBron of AI automation would be a little bit above a 1.2 and a 1.0 and a 0.6 and a 0.7. Obviously what we care about are positive reply rates. So this is like a 0.5. Sorry, this is like a 0.4. This is like a 0. This is like a 0.4. This is like a 0.3 or 0.4. 0.4. So what are we seeing here? It looks like all of my, just while we're on the topic, all my positive reply rates to the campaigns that I'm whipping up in front of you guys, they're at like a 0.4, 0.5. So you can make these campaigns crush. You just have to, you have to make sure you're booking most of them, and I'm not booking most of them, or at least, I sent I guess, you know what? I'm being too hard on myself. It was freaking Independence Day, and most of my audience is American, so obviously they're not going to get back to me. Duh. Whatever, we'll zoom out and we'll just keep running it. But, yeah, like you can make a campaign with like a 0.4, 0.5% positive reply rate work, but I mean, like I'm used to like the 1 to 3% positive reply rate, so the fact that this outreach isn't sticking, unfortunately, means that I got to do a lot more iteration, got to do a lot more testing. I'm going to throw some stuff at the wall. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this, because you guys get to see like the problem solving live, which I think is way more important than just like the nonstop W's. Like imagine if I just launched and then it just worked immediately. I mean, like, would that really be super instructive? Probably not. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, man, I want to land like a 5% reply rate here live with you guys. That'd be sick. Get back to those 5% days. Hey, Nick, love your content. I have a question about, and the thing is, like, I'm getting rates that are much better for clients. So I personally think I'm very bullish on this videographer Vane.io audience here. Very, very bullish on this. This is like a different, I uploaded this yesterday. It's a different source than the rest of these, which are all Apollo. But I think it might just be like some sort of Apollo fatigue. And then what I'm going to do next, is I'm actually going to scrape like specific audiences of podcasters and videographers and website agencies from non-Apollo sources, which would be cool. And Nick, love your content. Got a question about retain. Oh, am I up to 6 days? Okay, one more question then. For your videos, I understand the clients should cover the cost system to even pay for the automations you built once everything's up and running and essentially working without your ongoing involvement. How do you justify continued high-ticket retainer? Well, I think you hit the nail on the head right over here. It's working without my involvement. That's how I justify the high-ticket retainer. It's working without my involvement. It's delivering value, and I don't even have to be there. My God, that's crazy, right? We built a system. Every time the system delivers a win, a W, some sort of positive little hit of dopamine, client is attributing it to me. Let's say it's a Slack notification or something. It's like a Slack bot, right? Well, think about it. Like every time it's like left clicks bot saying you just booked a meeting. It's like, hey, that's the next thing, right? So you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said you're capable of building and then scaling up the system without any sort of ongoing involvement. Just runs autonomously in the background. That's why this business model is so cool, because you build these systems. These systems are like you building a freaking windmill for a village. It's like you just now empowered the entire village to do a bunch of cool stuff. But like you painted the whole thing with like a picture of your face. So now every time somebody looks at the windmill, they're like, my God, thank goodness for Nick's windmill, huh? So that's kind of how I see all this stuff. Yeah. And then obviously like you start transitioning from like just doing building to more strategy, consulting, advising, stuff like that. So how do you structure, position your offers so the value retainer is clear even when your hands-on work becomes minimal? You do stuff like weekly strategy calls. You do stuff like, have some sort of like deliverable. In addition to that, team training, Slack availability, be around, not like super crazy. Don't trade your time for money, obviously, but yeah. All right, guys. What a What a day. So I spent about half an hour here responding just because, just so we're clear on the building the agency front. It's looking a little light. We're just going to review some campaign performance, which is what I just did a moment ago. Literally just looked at it. And then plan for next week. So what am I going to do next week? Well, I think I'm going to experiment with some fundamentally different copywriting. That's going to be interesting. I'll probably segment hard to go short to long. Go short to long. Obviously, I'm going to continue the campaign iteration. I'm going now that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 campaigns running. I'll have 6 after this. 6 campaigns, 1,950 emails, 325 a day, so 162.5. If I send 6 days a week, that's about 975 per campaign. Well, our sequence, what that means is I'll actually be able to test these all in 1 week and get about 1,000 new emails sent for each, which is going to be really valuable. So basically in 7 days time, I'll have like another giant split test, which will be cool. Which is going to be really nice. So it looks like I got 5 opportunities from that. Let's see this one, which now has more data to go off of. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not getting the data that I'm looking for here. Kind of annoying. Something about the campaign tool is just nowhere near as clear as it used to be. But yes, that's number 1. And then number 2, we'll do the iteration. So we're going to do 2 things. Can iterate copy, obviously. Oh yeah, sorry, let's do this. Yeah, it's, I bet you my icebreaker format has a lot to do with that. Iterate icebreaker. Then also we're going to look to scrape custom audience. Custom audience. Then obviously I want to jump on calls. Because despite me saying these campaigns aren't working, I mean, I still had like 15 plus 4, 19 plus 5, 24. 24 opportunities come in, opportunity expressed as, hey, this sounds pretty interesting. Sure. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Or, hey, yeah, that sounds great. Let's jump on a call. So it's 24 leads, right? Like it's objectively speaking, who the hell generates that in a week? Like I'm really just being hard on myself unnecessarily. But still. Yes, still. Oh, and I do have to just respond to these right away. Like I can't, just like batch this and get so hung up on other stuff that I'm doing that I have to like go back. Maybe I got somebody on my team respond to these. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go hit the sack. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate all the lovely comments that I've gotten over the course of the last little while. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this campaign goes. And let this be an example of showing up when you are not at your best, but still showing up regardless. Still got that rep in today, which is all that matters. And you know what? I've had many, many worse days. It's just about putting in that modicum of effort consistently, sustained for a very long period of time, even if you are not going to perform your best that day.